All right, guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to try to accomplish two things. I want to do a quick review of this Garcia Max Pro low profile bait casting reel. I want to talk about everything I like about it and the one thing that I don't like about it. And then once we're done with that, I'm going to upgrade the drag system. So let's talk about the specs. It is a Max 4 Pro, but on the side of the reel it says Max Pro. Right now it's selling for $89.99 at Tackle Warehouse, $79.99 on Amazon. It is a 7.1 to 1 ratio, taking in 28 inches of line. That's if the spool is full. It boasts 8 bearings, 7 plus a roller bearing. So guys, when it comes to bearings, I just want to throw this out there. Whether you have 8, 10, 12, the bearings that really matter are the ones on the spool when you go to cast the reel. All the other bearings are fluff. That's all for smoothness when you're winding the reel back in. So last time I tore one of these things down, it was a Lew's high dollar, high-end bait casting reel. It had 4 bearings stuffed into the paddles of the handle. I'm not really sure that matters to me, just throwing it out there. It holds 150 yards of 10-pound mono and 120 yards of 12-pound mono. I'll let you do the conversion on the braid. So everything I like. It's generally well made. It feels good. It's light. Has a magnetic cast control. It does not have an internal braking system. So the only braking system you have is the mag. If you spend a little bit more money, you get both. I think it's a good looking reel. I've fished with it for about 30 days. It does a good job. The drag system is sticky. We'll talk about that when I replace the drag washer. This reel has 15 pounds of drag. The price is right. The spool tension knob works well. It clicks, so that helps. Again, the drag system is very sticky. I do not like it. I plan to upgrade that. I've already been into this reel and I did try to put some grease on the washer and that just didn't help. From day one when I fished this thing, I could tell the drag was less than adequate. One way you can test your drag is if you lock the spool down with your thumb and start winding up on your drag and start spinning the handle. You can tell how much drag pressure you got, and you also can tell if it's smooth or not. Now, you can't really tell, but I feel a little bump in this thing every so often. Plenty of drag pressure. It just slipped right there. So with that said, I'm going to start tearing this thing down. I have been on eBay. I bought a carbon fiber drag washer. I'm planning on replacing the washer that's in this reel. So let's get to it. Start by pulling the plunger out and removing the side plate and the spool. I'm going to go ahead and remove the handle. $10mm wrench. There is a washer under the handle. There's 4 screws holding this thing together. I'm going to take those out. They are not all the same length, so be careful where you place them. Make sure you can get them back in the same place. I stand corrected, there are 5 screws. All right, so when I pull this off, there's a couple of springs underneath this thing. Be a little bit careful. They shouldn't go anywhere. There they are right there. I'm gonna pull them off. They're easy enough to get back in place. There's a washer here that goes on top of the main gear, and then I'm gonna pull the main gear out. I'm gonna set this to the side. Pull these apart in the order that they come off. I'm going to line them up. There's the drag washer. Underneath is the main gear. So that's the order. Here's the main drag washer, and again, I'm not really sure what this is made of. I said hard plastic, but it's really not hard plastic. It's somewhat soft. for about $10. I've been on eBay. These are carbon text drag washers by Smooth Drag. You can buy them on eBay. You can also buy them on their website. They're all over the place. Super high quality. So it appears that I have lucked out. That's the same exact size washer, and that is also the same exact size washer. So these two washers will go in the trash can. So there's a lot of discussion about whether or not you should put grease on the drag washers. I'm going to tell you, the answer for me is always yes. I use Cal's Universal Reel and Star Drag grease. It's made for it. This stuff is super good. I'm going to grease the washers up. We're going to put this thing back together and we should be good to go. You don't really need a lot. I'm just going to massage it into the washer itself. I'm going to smear a little grease onto these metal parts. While I got this thing apart, I'm going to go ahead and put some more grease on the teeth of the main gear. Go ahead and put this thing back together. Make sure that this particular gear gets seated. There's a oblong slot right there that it fits in. Small washer goes next. Main gear goes on top of that. Guys, I've talked about this in some of my other videos. There is a roller bearing inside here. Be very careful with it. If you get too much grease on it, it will float and fail. I'm not going to touch this one right now. I don't have any problems with it. No reason to do anything. Guys, when I took this thing apart, I didn't mention this, but there's a sleeve down in here with the roller bearing, and there's a small washer on top of it. Be careful when you're working on these reels. There are a lot of small, intricate parts. This also has a slotted fixed position shaft. Small washer goes on top of that. Put the springs back in. I'm going to put a little dab of grease on the other gear while I got it open. This screw right here is the only screw that's a different length, that's shorter. Goes right there. Again, while I got this thing apart, I'm just going to throw a little more grease along this shaft and on the threads. Guys, there's a couple pieces here. There's two washers that are setting inside of this little cap. These two washers are cupped. They go together like this. Before you put the handle on, make sure you get the drag star down below the lip. Don't forget the washer on the bottom of the handle. Make sure you don't miss that. I like to get that nut as tight as I can with my fingers and then put the retaining washer on there and then move it around to the alignment hole, and that should put it right on the money there. All right, we'll go ahead and put this thing back together. Earlier I was talking about the spool bearings. There's one of them right there. The other one is in the side cap. I'm going to do another test on the drag. So right now it's nice and loose. We'll start framing down on this thing, nice and smooth. Still nice and smooth. Guys, this is a big deal for this reel. For $10, I mean, it really turns it into something better. Doesn't take a lot of time. Plenty of drag pressure. One more thing, when you're done fishing for the day, never leave the drag pressure on your drag washers. It will ruin them. It compresses them to a point where they can't do their job. If you got any questions, you got any comments, I'd love to hear from you. As always, please support the channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.